This is my ground beef stroganoff with caramelized mushrooms and crispy onions.
Yum.
2 cloves of garlic
Yes, sir.
on the rasp there, grated, and very thinly minced chives for later.
Yes, chef.
Here we have some ground beef, 80-20, and I've mixed it with a little bit of baking soda for 15 minutes. It just keeps all that moisture inside by changing the pH level, literally, of the meat. It makes it super tender.
What is your ratio? Like, is it a pound of
It's a
beef?
1/4 teaspoon per pound.
Okay.
How you doing?
Just a little tiny bit.
Yep. Cremini.
It doesn't change the flavor at all.
No, it does not change the flavor. If anything, it skews as salty or sodium, you know? But it really does make those little bits of ground beef more tender.
Look how nice and caramelized.
Now, usually you build this, you know, this is gonna be a 1-pan plan, but I like to take the mushrooms out now after caramelizing them just because I want them kind of to retain that color and caramelization without the liquid compromising that beautiful texture. Great job, Geoffrey. Obviously, you're blazingly fast. Get all those mushies out of there. And now we are going to throw in here, build on these flavors on the little bits of fond in there, some onions, some butter, a little bit of salt, and we're gonna saute this until we sweat these out. They become translucent, right? Really great way to kind of build layers of flavors here. That butter's gonna melt in there. Once these become translucent, get a little color on there. I always say, like, take your onions to almost the same color as the main protein in there, right? If it's a beefy dish, I don't mind my onions getting a little color on them too. A lot of dishes with chicken, or if you're making a soup, you don't need to bring it that far, right? So this way we can kind of mimic the flavor of the beef by taking our onions a little darker. Then we deglaze with a little sherry. Sherry and mushrooms. I always have a big bottle of cooking sherry. If you don't have this, you can use stock, you can use sherry vinegar, any type of combination of stock and vinegar, or even just water. Marsala is great. Now this is what I like to do. I like to kind of take that ground beef. Remember, it sat there for a little bit. We'll crank it up a little bit and get that just kind of Maillard effect on one side of the beef without moving it too much. Then we'll start breaking it up. Okay? Once that starts going, we'll hit the onions on the side here with a little flour. Again, a 1-pan plan here, making us a little bit of a roux to help thicken this up. Next, Geoffrey, we're gonna glaze it again with a 1/4 cup of wine. This is a little Sauvignon Blanc from the Illinois region of Chicagoland, from County Cook. Then we got ourselves, of course, 4 cups of stock. And this is where the magic kind of happens. We're gonna bring this up to a simmer. Got all those little bits cooking in there. Okay, now we take our egg noodles, dump it right in.
In the same pot? What?
Right?
I've never seen a stroganoff like this.
Your meat has been nicely browned, right? Cooked a little past pink. We added all those ingredients. I know you guys were thinking 4 cups is a lot, but because we put those egg noodles in there to absorb all that and make it even more silky sauce, we're gonna simmer it for about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, until those noodles are al dente, not too mushy. And what's gonna happen is this magical kind of moment where you have this kind of beautiful, look at this.
Plus you have the starch from the pasta.
The starch from the pasta water all marries together. All right, a little bit of that sour cream to give it that extra creaminess. You know, the first time I had this, Sarah's like, I haven't put the sour cream in. I'm like, you almost don't need it, but
Hush
give it
your
a
mouth,
little.
Jeff.
Yeah,
I'm
it does,
sorry.
and then you have it with the sour cream because that does the pasta water in there really does make it creamy.
What kind of mushrooms do you like for this?
So I like a little cremini, right? So cremini or just standard slice, like button mushrooms are great, but creamy. Paris mushrooms are delicious. Here we go. Look
See,
at that.
I think I love that. Little mushroom on top.
I'm gonna tear it up.
I do
Mushroom on
too.
top.
Okay.
It's a really good idea.
Just a little extra dollop here.
Sure. I'll take it.
A little chive. And last but not least, one of my favorites, because this is not texturally, you know, complex. Take some of those crispy canister French fried onions or French fried jalapenos they serve now. Just gives you a little kind of breadcrumb direct crunch vibe on there.
And the jalapenos are actually spicy. You know?
They are spicy.
Yeah, I thought that they would be.
All right, Sonny.
I'm in.
You're about to get strobed up.
All right, is this a spoon or a fork?
You know what? I'm gonna let this dealer's choice.
Jeff, this is you really made this so elegant also. I feel
Yeah,
like
it's a
this
little
is
bougie,
like,
if you ask me.
this gets diluted as a cafeteria dish a lot, and I feel like this is elegant.
Can I be honest? I never liked it ever in my life until I had it
Fork spoon?
with ground beef and made this way.
It's always been one of my favorites.
Really?
This is like one of my
Fork it.
#1 favorite comfort foods.
It's
Is beef
luscious enough to fork. Look at that. I got everything. I got a little bit of your fried onions. I've got the ground beef that you hit with the baking soda to make it luscious. I've got the mushroom. I've got a little bit of that sour cream.
Oh, I would make
It was
those.
almost gonna fall off the fork, so I had to get it.
Good catch.
My favorite kind of entertaining is to host a small group, and that's exactly what my BFF Hyacinth and I are doing tonight. And since Hyacinth offered to host at her house in town, I offered to bring all the food. So I am making a delicious menu that is scrumptious and perfectly portable, starting with the main course, baked sausage and pepper bucatini. It's just a glorious pasta bake with so much incredible flavor. I just took out some little bits of Italian sausage. I broke it into bite-sized pieces and I cooked it until it was done. And to the same skillet, I'm adding yellow bell peppers, red bell peppers, some sliced red onion, and then I have some minced garlic and minced oregano. And for just a little bit of excitement and interest, I'm gonna add some crushed red pepper flakes. This is actually a play on my chicken spaghetti that I've made for years and years. It was actually my mom's chicken spaghetti. It is just a classic, everyone always loves it, but this version is just a little more elevated. It's got a little more going for it, a few more fresh ingredients, and it is so incredibly tasty. All right, I just need to stir the veggies around and cook them for a couple of minutes. It's so funny, because I live in the country, I'm kind of used to taking food to people's houses in town, or civilization as I call it. Of course, I entertain at my house and have friends over, but it's about a 25-minute drive each way from and to town. So I'm kind of used to some of my friends in town saying, I'll have it at my house, save everybody the drive. I don't mind driving, it's just programmed into my DNA at this point. Alrighty, the peppers and onions are very, very soft. So I'm gonna go ahead and transfer them to the same bowl with the sausage. And now everything gets mixed in this bowl. I'm gonna add some chopped kale. It just adds a nice little punch of green. And for the pasta, I'm using bucatini, which I kind of describe as just a thicker, hollow spaghetti. It's one of my favorite pastas. And I actually broke the bucatini into pieces before I cooked it. And that way, it just makes the casserole a little bit easier to serve. You can get spoonfuls without big, long noodles kind of following you to the plate. And then cream of chicken soup. I have used cream of chicken soup since I was young. It is an ingredient that all home cooks used at one point in history, 70s, 80s. And to me, I think it just makes a dish instantly like comfort food. It just makes me think of the old days. And in a dish like this where there's so many other really delicious ingredients, the fresh peppers and things, you will not know that there is condensed canned soup in here. And then I'll add a can of chicken stock or chicken broth. And this is a very cheesy casserole, so I'm using mozzarella. So I'm gonna add half of this bowl, and I'm gonna save the other half to put on top of the casserole. And then some black pepper, quite a bit. Definitely be generous with the pepper. And I like to add a little seasoned salt, just to give it a little something something. And then you'll see why I have a really big bowl here. I'm gonna go in with the tongs and just slowly toss everything together. The regular classic chicken spaghetti casserole uses regular old spaghetti, usually like a rotisserie chicken if you want a shortcut, or I'll just boil a cut up fryer chicken. And it has chopped onions, canned pimentos, which is another of those old ingredients from the 70s. And I'm telling you what, everyone loves it. Even if it's someone who thinks they're a little bit more of a gourmand, they'll taste that chicken spaghetti and say, oh, I must have the recipe. It's such a good casserole. And it's one of the very few casseroles Lad loves and craves. He will eat other casseroles, but he's just never been a big fan. He's one of those weird people that doesn't like all of his food touching. All right, that's another story for another time. I'm gonna transfer all of this to a baking dish. Look at the colors. Oh, it's so great for a dinner party. Any kind of pasta bake, if you need to make something kind of portable, is perfect. This is good for a portable party or a potluck. I have taken several versions of this casserole to church on Sunday whenever we have potlucks. Honestly, you could just simmer this mix in the pan and serve it just straight out of the skillet, but there's something magical that happens when this bakes in the oven. All the flavors meld and it's so, so good. All right, top it with the other half of the mozzarella. Okay, the pasta bake is all assembled. So I'm gonna cover this and take it to highs unbaked, and when I get there, I'll put it in a 375-degree oven for about 25 minutes until it's hot and bubbly.
For a main, I'm serving up a hearty chickpea squash pot pie that's got everything that's good about autumn. Squash, apples, coziness, a blanket of phyllo dough, all served up in a cast iron skillet. My skillet is hot already. I'll drizzle in a tablespoon of olive oil and plop in a couple of tablespoons of butter. I'll pile in my mirepoix. I have a chopped yellow onion and a few stalks of celery that are chopped, and some carrots that I've sliced into thicker coins. I'll sprinkle in a couple of good pinches of salt to help draw out the moisture of the vegetables, which will allow them to soften. I'll stir this around and give them a good 7 to 10 minutes so that they can sweat out. I'll add some earthy thyme, got 4 cloves of chopped garlic, 2 teaspoons of za'atar, it's bright, it's nice, a teaspoon of paprika, and a pinch of cayenne. Smelling that thyme already. I'll stir this in and allow the spices to toast, allow the garlic to cook, and once it's smelling really fragrant, that's your sign to go on to the next step. Dry red wine is gonna help me deglaze, and it will contribute delicious depth. Before I add any other ingredients, I want to allow the red wine to reduce, just leaving behind the flavor. I do want to cook off that alcohol. This red wine is reduced by half. I'll pour in the rest of the braising liquid. I have 1 15-ounce can of crushed tomatoes and 2 cups of low-sodium vegetable stock. I'll plop in some cubed, colorful butternut squash. And now to cut some of the sweetness, I'll chop and add a sourish apple. Next, a 1/4 cup of chopped fresh parsley. Let me stir these in and allow them to start to get soft. I'll also toss in a bay leaf to infuse more herby flavor. Smells good. Now that I've put the whole garden into this pot, I'm ready for some protein. 2 cans of rinsed chickpeas will soak up this stew and get creamy, kind of melt down. I am going to allow this big honkin' skillet to simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. I want the flavors to meld and for the squash to start to soften. I'll finish this off with a splash of vinegar for acidity, honey to balance, salt, and then grab my crispy, irresistible topping. I'm using phyllo dough. One very important thing to keep in mind when you're working with phyllo is that you want to prevent it from drying out. So I've got a wet paper towel here. I'm gonna work with one at a time. I'll brush with a thin layer of butter to help it get crispy and delicious. I'll sprinkle it with za'atar. To transfer this on top of my pie, I'll slip my hands under it and bunch it up so that it sort of looks like a rustic rose. Like a flower. Right here on top. And I like to give it some good height so that you get those crispy bits. You wanna handle this delicately, gently, and quickly. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a good one. I wanna cover the entire surface area of the stew. I'll finish with a pinch of flaky salt, like sparkly body glitter, and it'll bake at 375 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes. It'll look stunning. Ooh. Isn't that striking? Just needs a sprinkle of parsley for a pop of freshness and greenery. make sure it's okay. It's like phyllo music to my ears. Oh yeah, look at that. So steamy. It hugs my insides. That flaky, crunchy phyllo dough on top is awesome.
I'm getting started with my Jack-o'-lantern jambalaya stuffed peppers. I have some green and orange peppers that I've cut little Jack-o'-lantern faces on, and then I'm gonna take the insides out and then stuff it with that jambalaya and then roast them in the oven. That's so cute. All right, I have diced some onions, some green bell pepper. Now I'm going to dice some celery. So I'm starting off with the jambalaya, the stuffing. Jambalaya is the perfect filling for the peppers. I mean, we're in rice country. You gotta add some rice. Dice celery to my peppers and onions. I'm adding canola oil to sweat my veggies first. Bell pepper, onion, and celery. Add a little butter, a little extra fat, and a few pinches of salt. All right, so I've sweated my veggies down just a bit. Now I'm going to add my andouille sausage. And I want to brown this sausage so I can get some of that flavor to come out. Okay. All right, to this, I'm going to season some more by using a little Cajun seasoning. Paprika, oregano, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, almost very similar to my house seasoning with a little bit more kick. Now I'm going to add my rice that I've already rinsed. That's 1.5 cups of white rice. I'm toasting my rice, which is going to allow it to soak up all of the flavors that's going to be in this pot. Start adding my liquid with 1.5 cups of water and 1.5 cups of chicken stock. And I have 2 bay leaves. I am going to cover this and let it simmer for about 20 to 25 minutes or until all of the liquid has absorbed. Now I have to get my bell pepper and cut out my little jack-o'-lanterns. So I've done a few, but I'm gonna show you how I did it. So you take a paring knife. You're gonna cut little triangles for the eyes, right? You guys have carved pumpkins before, so we're doing like the same thing here. Same idea. Make a little dot in the center for the nose. Then you wanna slice across for the mouth, okay? So 2 eyes, the nose and the mouth, you see? All right, so what I'm gonna do next is carve out the top. Slice off the top, take a spoon and take out the ribs, the things inside, all of the seeds. This is where I'm gonna put that rice. Make sure you save the lid because you can kind of put the lid on top once we put that rice in. So my jambalaya has been cooking for about 25 minutes. Ooh, it smells so good. I'm gonna give it a quick fluff. Ho ho! It smells like Louisiana here. The spices, the bay leaf, the earthiness from that, and the andouille sausage. Before I add this to my peppers, I'm gonna add some green onion. It gives it that mild onion flavor and a little color. Now I'm gonna stuff my peppers with this jambalaya. All right, I'm just stuffing it to the rim. When the peppers roast in the oven, it's gonna soften up, and this entire thing is gonna be edible. And it's so cool to use peppers because peppers are already in the dish. Put the top back on. Add a little water to the bottom of this casserole dish. That's gonna help create some steam and cook those peppers. Cover with a little foil. My oven is preheated to 350. I'm gonna bake this for about 45 minutes. My pepper lanterns are done. The great reveal. Ooh, those are beautiful. The colors are so saturated. Ooh, it's Halloween.
A butternut squash pasta casserole. It is so hearty and delicious. So to keep things easy, I'm adding a bag of butternut squash from the freezer. You can totally use fresh instead. And then in addition to the squash, I'm gonna add a quart of chicken broth, low sodium, and I'm cranking the heat because I want this to cook until the butternut squash is totally tender. This is a very fall-friendly recipe, but since you can buy butternut squash in the freezer section of the grocery store year-round, you can totally make this whenever you want. Salt and pepper.
Proud.
Okay, so the butternut squash is gonna cook for 5 minutes until it's soft. Watch the magic happen. I'm gonna turn this into a squashy liquid, which is kind of strange. It doesn't sound all that good, but trust me. And you can puree it as much or as little as you want to. You can make it a totally smooth puree, or it can be sort of a chunky puree. I like things with some texture. All right, just about done. I see some chunks of butternut in there, but I'm gonna leave them because I think it'll make the casserole more interesting. Okay, so this is so cool because I'm actually gonna pull this casserole together in the casserole pan. So I already cooked some penne, and watch this. This is basically the liquid for the casserole, but it's kind of like butternut squash mac and cheese, you know? It's gonna be delicious, trust me.
It's gonna be great.
Okay, and then I've got a few things to add. Some roasted red pepper, frozen peas,
Wow.
and goat cheese. It kind of combines with the butternut squash, and oh my gosh, the texture and the consistency of this casserole is amazing. Stirring it right in the casserole dish. And this pasta was actually kind of cooked to not quite al dente, so the extra liquid in the casserole will keep the casserole from becoming dry when it bakes, because the pasta is gonna keep absorbing some of that liquid. Ooh, so pretty so far. Now this is a really cool little ingredient to add. I grated cauliflower. So instead of using like a breadcrumb or something, I'm doing cauliflower, and that makes it more veggie forward, more healthy. And then on top of the cauliflower, just for a little extra flavor, some salt and pepper. I love this casserole, and I love casseroles that you can assemble right in the pan. I don't have a whole bunch of different bowls that I'm mixing in. All right, now I've got a whole bunch of mozzarella, since Paige was quick to point out that there wasn't enough cheese in this casserole. And then Parmesan, of course, on top of the mozzarella. Tons of different ingredients going on, but they're all very simple. And then parsley, and I'll save a little bit to sprinkle on at the end. I think this is gonna be amazing. What do you think?
I think so.
All right, let's get this in the oven. We're gonna bake it at 375 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes, and I am so sorry that you have to wait that long. Oh, actually, you don't have to wait that long. Look, 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 look.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That looks incredible. Check it out, you guys.
Wow. All that cheese.
Wow, it looks so good. I think we need to serve it.
Yes.
I think we need
Yes,
to
kinda.
try it. I think we
Yeah.
need to enjoy it.
Can I try?
Yeah, are you excited to try this, Paige?
I just love goat cheese.
All right, Alex.
Mom, gotta get sliced cam or scoop cam.
Oh dear.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
nice.
It's
That is
basically,
amazing.
this is basically mac and cheese that took a trip around the world or something. Here, Paige, I'll let you try.
So excited. Okay, one bite review. Trying to get all the good stuff.
One bite review.
One bite.
Oh, it smells so good.
Really good.
I'm putting an American twist on a shepherd's pie with my sweet potato and turkey shepherd's pie.
Aren't you fancy?
We did a little dice of carrots and celery and onions. I feel like we always have that in the fridge hanging around. Those 2 carrots left in the bag that are kind of lonely.
Sad, they're sad.
You have some fully baked sweet potatoes,
Yes.
Sunny. These are just baked in the oven, literally with nothing. We're just gonna peel them.
Okay.
Pop them in the food processor to make a little rustic puree. And I've got a pound of ground turkey, just browning away with a lot of salt and pepper.
Where did the term shepherd's pie come from?
I assume it comes from
Gotta be from
the
Shepherds, right?
connection between the lamb and the shepherd. Okay, so we have in here a pound of ground turkey that I've just browned off. And the browning is so important to just start developing that flavor. Same pan, I'm taking Sunny's absolutely stunning dice of celery, which was peeled, by the way, because we can get a little fancy on a weeknight if we want. So carrots and celery right where we cook that turkey, so we're soaking up all those flavors Turkey, healthy because it's lower in saturated fat than beef, but turkey actually has more calories than beef, ground turkey.
Seriously.
But to my mind, turkey is hearty. And ground turkey is satisfying. You eat it and you're not like,
Is that dark meat or white meat?
dark meat. Most ground turkey, by the way, is usually a mix of
Yeah.
light and dark. I like either, honestly, for this. I find the light meat is a little leaner. So if you want to just be a little leaner and cleaner, you can do that. Salt, pepper in here with just some diced red onion, celery, and carrots. We're just getting that just nice and tender. Just this makes me hungry, honestly. So Sunny has just those sweet potatoes that she's blending up. I have melted a stick of butter, and it's browned, so it has that wonderful flavor. Now here I've got the stick of butter, and I'm just gonna use a little to brush the baking dish while we're doing a little double duty. To this brown butter, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of molasses, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar,
And this is all going into the sweet potatoes? Oh, yum.
Oh,
little nutmeg, about half a teaspoon, and a tablespoon of just ground up ginger.
Oh, yum.
Grated. Wow. This is like the oven-baked version of the slow cooker meal, right? So this is for Sunny. Sunny, this is just to add this wonderful flavor
I was
bomb.
gonna say, I really want to add some olive oil to make this go around, but I'm following you, chef.
Okay, I'm hoping the butter will do the trick. So now when these start to get a little tender, I'm gonna add them right to the meat.
You want a little crunch in it, right, Alex? You want to...
Well, this is gonna get baked in the oven, so you're gonna
Okay,
have
you want it.
time for those
All right.
vegetables to finish up.
So you could, if for the home cook, you could make 3 or 4 of these, freeze them, and then you have like...
Absolutely. Any day of the week is the right day of the week for me with frozen peas. I just love them.
that's
I
a
have a
frozen
couple
peas.
bags
Wait,
hanging around.
Always salt in here?
Yes, please. I just add them right in. They can literally just defrost them so the excess liquid, don't cook them at all.
I'm getting pot pie. I'm getting so many different versions of so many little things here. There's a lot of going on.
Little cup of stock in there, and then tablespoon of red wine vinegar just to
knew you
wake
were
There
everyone
it
up.
was.
I was waiting.
Corner.
I thought we ran out of
Alex,
vinegar.
gotta
Looking like this, around the corner, all creepily.
We want this at this point to be liquidy because it's gonna bake and do everything. That looks delicious.
Oh, I'd eat that on its own right there.
You did it. You really crushed that. I'm gonna give you also, in addition to the brown butter, some warm milk,
Got you.
which you can add in. I don't add cream to sweet potatoes. I think cream really dulls the flavor. So I like to just add a little milk with that butter, and that feels like Thanksgiving to me.
I'm with you on that, Alex, because I think like when you're making mashed potatoes and you use milk instead of cream, they have a lighter texture too. They're fluffier.
Just for the Thanksgiving vibes, couple grates of orange zest and the juice from the orange itself. And then we just start layering. We layer and we bake, right? It's so exciting the way this, and you could totally put this together, come home, throw it in the oven, and there's nothing, right? So the kitchen looks kind of quiet. Everybody's like, wait, where's dinner? And you're like, oh, excuse
Bubbling
me.
away, huh?
Got this mix, and you see it's deliberately liquidy because we want that steam from beneath to just moisturize this whole thing while it's baking. You know what I mean? We're moisturizing.
Cheapers,
It's
creepers.
Thursday.
This is
It's Friday
Thursday.
Junior, people.
I'm calling it Friday Senior now. I'm excited about this. I don't know what's going
Baby
on.
Friday.
I
This
mean,
just goes
Friday's
in.
gonna have a lot to live up to.
I know. I don't know what we're
after
making for that,
Thursday.
but
And by the way, you could skip the celery, carrot, onion, and just do the turkey and the
Or
peas.
leftovers. Or leftovers. Whatever you have in the box. And it's
Scallions.
chopped up.
Yeah. I like when I put something like this together and I don't even wanna bake it. I wanna eat it right away.
it's a good sign.
And now we're just gonna gently start, just gently, snow on the cedars, little Bob Ross here,
Y'all ever heard of sweet potato dip?
right on, gently on top. I'm gonna get this into the oven. I baked it at 375 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. Let's
Yeah,
check it out. Geoffrey is hungry. I can always tell.
I'm like,
He
come on.
follows you to the oven,
He,
right?
He preloaded his fork right there.
Look at that. Put that
Because
right
it's
here.
too far in the carafe.
It's ready.
The Thanksgiving vibes are on.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
show.
Friendsgiving. This is perfect
That's
for
a
Friendsgiving.
showstopper right there. Showstopper.
Take a nose bath. Come on. You know what I mean? Get a nose bath in there.
That's what-
This
It
is
is.
better than like a good candle.
And the sugars in the
In the
sweet
bath.
potatoes have like changed. They've gone deep. Oh,
Come on, girl. Come on, girl.
Oh, look at that.
No. I went a little light for you, a little high protein. Now, don't be tacky and take all the sweet potato topping.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know, it has like a
so mean.
a meatloaf vibe going on, I must
Yeah, I can
say.
see that.
Can you have me one of you? There you go.
So good.
It actually is light. It doesn't, you think it's heavy, it's not. It's a perfect weeknight meal.
Nick is with Bernie for the day, so I'm getting some work done on recipes for my blog. I am making a hot dish, which is the ultimate comfort food. The hot dish I'm making today is my version of a funeral hot dish, which is often served after a funeral because it's just so comforting. A hot dish is a type of casserole that's basically a full meal in a dish. It has a meat, a starch, some vegetables. I'm using ground Italian sausage, macaroni noodles, and tomatoes, and the whole thing gets covered in cheese. It's delicious. Typically, a funeral hot dish would be made with ground beef, but I love using sausage because it packs so much flavor. This sausage smells amazing. I can smell the fennel seeds, and there's some red pepper in it. It's so good. Typically, hot dishes are baked, but this one is gonna be ready on the stove. As this finishes up browning, I'm gonna grab my macaroni noodles and chicken stock. I'm gonna be cooking the noodles directly into the sauce. First, I'm gonna add some tomatoes. And then I'm also adding some chicken stock, which is gonna infuse it with way more flavor. And it's also gonna thin out the sauce so that my noodles can cook. And chicken stock or vegetable stock will do. I'll pour this right in. And then about half a box of macaroni noodles. Any small noodle will work. You just want something that'll be nice on a big spoonful. I'll bring it to a boil, reduce to a simmer, and then cover it and let it cook until the noodles get tender. And as the noodles cook, they are gonna soak up all of the flavor of the chicken stock and the tomatoes and the sausage, and it's just gonna hold everything together. It's gonna be so good. I just get so happy thinking about the first time that Bernie is gonna try a hot dish. I love that she's gonna grow up with hot dishes because they're so comforting. I'll have them ready when she gets home from school, especially in the winter when we're all cozy inside. I know she's gonna love them. And what's unique about funeral hot dish is that it's based with a tomato sauce. Most hot dishes are based with a cream soup. This is looking great. I'm gonna reduce it to a simmer and cover it, and then I'll let it cook for about 25 to 30 minutes so that the noodles can absorb all of that saucy goodness. Okay, I'm gonna check on the hot dish. Oh yeah, this looks beautiful. The noodles have plumped up. Okay, now every hot dish has to have a vegetable, so I'm gonna grab some peas. I'm also gonna add some cheese. Frozen peas, totally fine to use because they'll thaw as soon as they hit the hot dish. I'm gonna dump these right in. Other vegetables will work, like corn or green beans. I'm gonna stir this in and I'm gonna let these peas get heated through. I love the colors here. They're like the bright red tomatoes and the bright green peas. Now next I'm gonna season with some salt and pepper. I'll give this one last stir and then I'm gonna cover it with cheese and a little parsley because we're getting a tiny bit fancy. I'm using mozzarella because I always have mozzarella on hand. And I'm just sprinkling it on over the top. And some Parmesan. Just a little bit of a salty snap. Yum. Any kind of melty cheese will do. And lastly, just a sprinkle of parsley. This is the hardest part. It's the only thing that requires chopping in this recipe.
What's going on here?
Look who it is! Hello! Hi, miss. Hello.
She wanted to see what mommy was up to.
I am making funeral hot dish.
Oh no, who passed?
No one. I'm just making it because it tastes good. Do you want to taste?
Please. Very good.
Yeah? Okay.
What do you think, Bernie?
One day you'll have your first hot dish.
We are making some budget-friendly meals, and in my opinion, chili is one of the best budget-friendly things you can make. So I'm gonna make spicy chili verde, and it is going to be scrumptious because instead of pork, I'm using sausage, which is pork, but I hope I'm making sense. So I'm cranking up the heat. I've already got some butter and oil in the pan, so I'm adding onion, garlic, and then look at this. Did I say Verde or what? This is diced poblano chilies and a bunch. And then some diced jalapeños. You can leave the seeds in if you want to, or you can use half the seeds for a little bit of spice. Alex recently had a little bit of a catastrophe with jalapeños. Did you dice them or peel them or what?
I diced them, but I used my bare hands and then I rubbed my nose. Rubbed.
That's a rookie move right there.
It was tragic.
Okie doke. So the onions and peppers and garlic are cooking away. So I'm gonna grab the sausage. I'm using Italian sausage for the spicy chili verde. Now, that's a little bit of a controversial move, but basically I'm using sausage for the fat content because ground pork isn't really fatty enough. So Italian sausage does have flavor to it, but there are gonna be so many other delicious kind of Tex-Mex flavors, Mexican flavors, that it's gonna totally cover up the Italian flavors. I hope that made sense. So I'm gonna cook this. It's gonna take just a few minutes to get it totally brown. Okay, the sausage is all browned, and boy, it is really, really smelling good over here. So I'm gonna turn this meat and chili mixture into a delicious chili verde. Jar of salsa verde, to look and see what it was. And then 2 cans of green enchilada sauce. The difference between green enchilada sauce and salsa verde, the enchilada sauce is smoother. Maybe it's pureed a little longer. I'm also adding a can of diced green chilies. So basically any form of green chilies I could get my hands on, that's what's going into this chili. All right. Oh man, this is gonna be so good. I remember when Lad and I went to Albuquerque, New Mexico many, many years ago, and there is a real divide there about red versus green, like enchiladas and chili, but I really fell in love with like the whole green world there, green chili world. Okay, now that's all mixed together. Oh, I forgot to add a little bit of salt and pepper. Now, the sausage is plenty flavorful, so you don't want to over-salt it. Now, I'm just gonna let this cook for about 12 to 14 minutes, and then I'll show you how to serve it up. It's gonna be so good. All right, check it out. This is looking so good and so meaty, so very green. So the last thing at the very end, I'm gonna squeeze in a lime, 2 halves of a lime, which makes a lime, to be specific. It just gives it a little bit of a just tang, and that acid at the end just makes all the difference. Okay, so to serve this up, this is really the fun part, and it usually is when it comes to serving chili, because the chili is one thing, but the fixins are a whole world in themselves. Now, this is entirely optional, but another way to kind of stretch the chili side of things is to serve it on top of rice. Rice, of course, is very budget friendly. So what I like to do is make a bed of rice, but let a little bit of it come up the sides. And then serve the chili. So get a lot of the meat, and then I like to get some extra juice in there. Doesn't this look good? And then to serve it, you can really add anything you like to the top. So sour cream is one of my favorite chili fixins. And then radishes. Who knew? I think they're so pretty, but they're also kind of peppery and cold and crunchy. Some queso fresco, just a nice little sprinkle. You can do like grated processed cheese for all I care. You can do any kind of cheese you want. All of us have that big old block of like cheddar jack or Colby jack. You can just grate it and use it instead. And I was gonna serve like red salsa with it, but it's chili verde, so I wanted to keep it green and holy. And then just put a little lime wedge on the side. But how good is this? And if you serve it with rice, this pot of chili could serve approximately 250 people.
That's a bold statement.
Not really, but it could serve a crowd. Unless Stu's on the scene, and then there's no telling. Make this soon.
Today I'm making a very special roast. I'm making the perfect braised pot roast with a stout braised pot roast with autumn root vegetables. Canola oil in here. What I've done is I bought a chuck roast and I've had it tied at the butcher, and I've done a very important thing. I've seasoned this overnight. We put a lot of salt and pepper on it, 24 hours in the refrigerator, uncovered. Now we're gonna put a little bit more on. Okay, so chuck roast.
And that almost dry brines it too and helps those proteins break down and draw out the moisture out of it.
I even do this with like ribeye, you know the ribeye you cook? I actually cook that, I season it a couple hours ahead of time, put it in the fridge. Because it just needs it. You can never get into the center of the meat with the seasoning. Okay, so a little bit of flour, right? And this is just to get a little bit of a crust and help start the juices sort of to thicken just a bit. You don't have to put too much on, all right. Then a smoking hot pan. Did I say smoking,
Yep,
Jeff?
I see it smoking.
I see things are happening.
And meaning, and I don't put olive oil in here, that would be a waste of money because it's a low smoke point. Grapeseed oil, avocado oil even.
Oh.
And I'm just using canola today.
GZ doesn't waste money.
I don't want to waste money.
But he likes spending it.
Spend money, someone has a job.
Look at this guy.
Okay, in here. And then what do we do when it sits like this?
You put on some Sinatra.
Exactly. No, you basically don't touch it. It's really important not to touch it. And this takes time. Do not rush this process. It's really important. Okay?
Yeah.
Step 2, our vegetables. So step 1, we're doing this now. When we got to speed it up, it takes time. 4 sides, not just up and down. And it comes out looking gorgeous like that. You see that? So this is totally raw, but that's the way it's supposed to look. We take it out, we put it here. We leave the fat in the pan.
Yep.
Because that's where the love is. And so to that fat, we add our autumn vegetables. Now, that's a loose term, autumn vegetables. And here we have carrots, red onions, cut big, because they're gonna need to be cut big. They're gonna cook for a long time. We have turnips. You could put potatoes in here. You could put rutabaga, whatever you wanna have, but try to make them cut large and really get a nice sear on them, okay? A couple of bay leaves, some thyme, some garlic, and a little bit of tomato paste.
This is a great way to feed a crowd for not a lot of money, too.
Really get that tomato paste, you want to cook it down just for a second, just to like, activate it, all right? And then to that, we're gonna add our beast, our roast beast.
Do it.
All right, right like that. So let's put our beer in here. The stout really gives it a kind of like a depth that's great. So if you want to shoot liquid out of a bottle faster, you just get it going like a tornado, seriously. Go like that, and it just comes out really fast.
You have to have your arm at a 90-degree angle?
90 degree. Beef stock. Now, we're not covering it totally. It's like about 3/4 of the way.
The rules of the braise.
Now, what we've done before is we preheat our oven. I like to cook between 3 and 350. Our particular oven's at 300. And it's gonna take a good 3.5 hours. Don't. This is 180, 185 internal, but I wouldn't even go internal. This one, if you just touch a skewer or a fork in it, it should just come out, almost fall apart.
Fork tender.
Fork tender. All right, let's go in. Jeff, would you help me out here? Bottom oven.
Sonny's actually closer. Okay.
Thanks,
I was
Sonny.
gonna turn this
I
off.
get some help, thank you. No, the bottom one.
Sorry, bud.
Jesus.
I got you, man.
Okay,
It's like
Watch out.
weightlifting with that thing.
thank you.
Do you need a spot? You good?
I got it.
Right. Okay. I got you. Not even touching you.
It's a good thing you've been at the gym, so
All right, look
Relax,
at
he's
that.
at the gym, Jeff, you know?
See that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's like almost. Okay. See everything, see how dark that liquid is?
Yep.
That's the beauty of that. Okay.
I almost got it.
I saw you. You were getting it. You were gonna burn your mouth on that. You didn't care though.
I just want to taste the juice.
Okay. You can see we had about that size before, and it didn't shrink that much.
Not much.
So this feeds a lot of people. All right.
But everything that the beef lost in volume has been reintroduced
right
into the juice, so it's all flavor still. It's edible.
Dare I say Flavor Town? So on the side, what I've done while this is reducing is I've mixed a little bit of peas and onions. These are frozen. I put them in a pot, very low, with a good amount of butter.
I see it. They are glistening.
So we're gonna start to plate. I like to plate this. Now you could just bring this to the table, which is fine, but we're gonna do a little bit different plating here.
You don't have to strain it. I mean, you're not going through all that, reducing the sauce.
I mean, I'm reducing it, but just a little bit,
Look at
because this is
that.
more of a juice than a sauce. A sauce is like, and you know that flour we put on, it just provided just enough glaze.
Our girl's mouth's watering.
Yeah, and
Mine
so
is.
all of these vegetables have just given up their flavor to the stew. And 3.5 hours is a long time, okay? And why don't we start to slice?
Yeah.
She's waiting. I know.
You're
Who was the first person? Do you always do the first person thing? Who was the first person that took cast iron and made an awesome Dutch oven out of it?
I don't know.
Look at that juiciness.
We'll
I
save
love
that
a
for
big old
sandwich.
fat
Look
chunk.
at that. Look at that.
Here, I know you want that.
Jeezy,
There's no sauce in it now, so, okay, just beware. Okay.
You don't even have to have tea for this.
Well, that day's coming.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'm kidding. No, it's like
Care of
terrible.
those.
I speak about myself, actually.
Oh,
Okay,
it's
so
so
the juice.
beefy.
Right, hold on. Wait, there's more. There's more. So don't oversauce it, and then beautiful pea, butter, carrot mix, butter, pea, and onion mixture on top.
That is so smart.
Wow.
Yeah. You got bright. It's like better than parsley.
Well, I mean, like, right, pot roast usually has a reputation of being like a kind of a drab, looking dish, but look
Muddy
how bright.
flavors.
A little fresh tarragon, which always goes nice. with the
Tarragon.
Tarragon.
Some
Never
fresh chives.
on the pot roast. What a good idea.
Tara.
Tara.
God is my witness. Never
You ready?
again. I am Iron Chef ready. I am Chopped Judge ready. I am ready to go.
This is the way you want to start off a meal in the fall, right? Look at that blue
Heck yeah.
vegetables.
It's like the
And that
ultimate
nice
fall
chunk there
dinner.
of
I think
carrot.
red onion
know-
is my favorite onion next to the Vidalia onion, right?
Just for
Sweet
your,
onion.
just to
That's
let
just
you
like
know,
your
Sonny,
opinion, man.
that orange thing is a carrot. I know you've been.
Well, Sonny's been eating veggies.
Just want to let you know.
We've been eating a lot of vegetables on the show. We've all seen it.
I know, Sunny is.
Don't dish it unless you can take it.
know.
I can take it. You see, I went in for the carrot first.
Carrot.
Wow.
But first, let me talk about the beef. Leave it up to the least expensive cut of beef to taste
Yes.
the most beefy.
Beefy, right?
Right?
Agreed, man.
It's got the most rich beef flavor.
I am making pumpkin lasagna. It's super hearty and cheesy. It's got crispy, salty bacon, loads of bitter chard, and it's all held together by a creamy, no-cook pumpkin sauce. To start, I'm crisping up bacon. Bacon and pumpkin together are a match made in savory heaven. Now that I've rendered my bacon fat, I'm gonna use it to cook up my veggies. I have 2 big onions that are thinly sliced. A good pinch of salt will help them soften down. I'll cook these just for about 6 to 8 minutes until they're soft. These are smelling really nice. I'll add a few bunches of chopped bitter chard and let it cook down. Okay, another pinch of salt will help draw the moisture out and allow it to soften. I love a veggie-packed lasagna because everything is good when it's underneath a blanket of noodles and cheese. I'll grate in some fresh nutmeg for warmth and then let these veggies drain while I put together my other layers. Time for the star of this lasagna, the pumpkin. It comes from a can. This sauce is so easy. I'll thin it out with 1 cup of low-sodium chicken stock and 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream for added richness, and a tablespoon of chipotles and adobo sauce, which are so smoky and a little bit spicy, but not overly so. Because in order for pumpkin to really lean savory, it's gotta have something smoky, something salty, the bacon, and something bitter, the chard. Salt, a teaspoon of it. I'll mix this together. So that's it. I'll do the cheese layer now. I'll start with 1.5 pounds of whole milk ricotta. You gotta have that fluffy layer in a lasagna. I'll crack in an egg so that this layer can set. And then 1/2 cup of grated parm and some freshly chopped parsley. Lasagna sometimes uses a few more bowls than I want it to, but then when I have a gigantic casserole of lasagna in my fridge for days after eating it, it's all worth it. Okay, I've got all my components ready. It's time to assemble. First layer is a cup of sauce to prevent any noodles from sticking to the bottom of the pan. And top with 3 no-boil lasagna noodles. And then I'll spread on 1/3 of the ricotta mixture. I wanna cover the entirety of the noodle. That's the secret to no-boil noodles, is you really gotta cover them with stuff so that they actually absorb moisture and get cooked. a third of my veggies. Chard smells good. And a third of the bacon, which I'll just crumble all over. Bacon and chard together are really nice. And these will punctuate the bites with crispy saltiness. And then 1 cup of mozzarella cheese. And it's important to have the mozzarella go all the way to the edge so that it gets crispy. Okay, I'll repeat these layers 2 more times and then finish with noodles, the rest of the pumpkin sauce, loads of mozzarella cheese, and Parmesan. Oh yeah. I'll cover it up with foil, and then this will go in at 425 degrees for 30 minutes, and then I'll uncover it and bake for an additional 15 minutes until it gets golden and bubbly on top. I think I'm hearing that cheese bubble. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. All of the brown cheese splotches. I'll finish with a sprinkle of crushed red pepper for an extra hit of spiciness. I think I'm just gonna risk burning my mouth because it smells too good not to taste it. I'm going for a crispy edge. It's gooey, it's cheesy. That little sweetness from the pumpkin is so good.
This is my seasonal take on a comfort food classic. Y'all, I'm talking about lasagna. I'm making butternut squash and kale lasagna spirals.
Ooh,
Wow.
Okay.
So like vegetarian, not vegan, but vegetarian.
It is vegetarian, that's right. This would be perfect for a meatless Monday. It also is a great freezer meal because we're making them into spirals. You can individually freeze the spirals and then just have them to pop in to make a quick weeknight dinner.
I love it.
Because this is a little labor intensive, you'll see. Jeff, I'm gonna have you continue to dice up our butternut squash here. You don't have to do anything with this one. It's just here
Very
for good
nice.
looks.
Good.
So I like them a small dice, and we're gonna roast those in the oven. I've got my pan here to start cooking our veg that goes into the filling. So some minced onion. And I like to cut this up pretty fine and just cook them just for a couple minutes till they start to get translucent. That happens pretty quickly because they're so small. Now, with this recipe, you know, we're obviously using a fresh butternut squash that we're chopping up. You could get the prepackaged, the ones that are already chopped up for you at the grocery store. You can buy frozen butternut squash that you could roast, or you could just do a whole substitution and use canned butternut squash puree in this recipe.
Are we gonna puree this, or it gets roasted?
No,
and then
I'm
you're
just
keeping it
roasting
whole?
it
Okay.
and keeping it whole.
I'm
I
like,
don't
why
think
am I
I've
dicing it?
seen
You know?
butternut squash puree yet in my grocery store. I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to. I'm not probably even paying attention.
It's right around where the pumpkin is. You could use canned pumpkin in this too if you just wanted the whole thing to be creamy. I like the texture of having
Yeah.
the pieces of the butternut squash. All right, so I'm gonna add to this some chopped up mushrooms. So these are creminis that I've finely chopped. You could use white buttons, you could use a mixture. The sky's the limit with your mushrooms. And cook those just until all that water comes out of them. And then adding to it some garlic.
That's a lot. I like that.
Yeah, I like a lot of garlic in this. I think that mushrooms just take on that garlic flavor so well. And then some nice fall herbs. I always think of sage in the fall.
Of course.
That's one of my favorite cool weather herbs. And some thyme. Both just taste so good with those mushrooms, especially, and with the butternut squash. It really highlights those fall cozy flavors.
I'm finito here, Miss Lee.
Wow, okay. Toss it with some olive oil, salt and pepper, put it into the oven. Those are gonna cook until they're fork tender. It takes about 25, 30 minutes at that size. 30, 35, you know, just kind of watch it. 425 degrees.
Got it.
All right, and I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper.
I also think when you're involving squash with pasta, it can get a little sweet, even if you don't put sugar. So
Yes,
those,
you're right.
those herbs, that sage, the garlic keeps it savory.
Yeah, totally.
Brings it on over to savory. Add some savory.
I'm gonna add to it some shredded kale. You know how usually in a lasagna, not usually, but sometimes in a lasagna, you'll have spinach, doing like a spinach ricotta filling. So that's where my kale vibes are coming from.
Look at these little morsels over here, huh? You know that's good.
So see how they cook down even smaller? And they're perfect to go into the filling. Right, those are so sweet and good.
You're gonna know you're eating squash.
Totally. So you just wanna let that cook all the way down. then let it cool off, and we're gonna make our filling. So for our filling, I've got some ricotta cheese here. I've got 1 egg to go in. You give that a little mix. And then I'm gonna add to it some Parmesan cheese. You could also use Pecorino Romano. That would be great. I'm gonna add in some shredded cheese. This is like the bag of the Italian mixed cheese.
Wow, Katie.
Mozzarella provolone vibes.
Asiago, maybe.
All right, Jeff, take those and put them right in here. And I'm gonna add the mushroom kale filling.
Don't strain yourself, Jeff.
What's up, America? What are you doing? All right, enough of
You
that.
see what I deal with here?
I know.
All right,
Look at that.
give it a quick
Oh,
mix.
super cleanup.
This looks great. It just is like the perfect fall lasagna. Okay, I made a classic bechamel.
Ooh,
So this, I put some of it already underneath the little lasagna rolls.
Nutmeg and all.
Yeah, little nutmeg. The
Yes.
nutmeg's really important because of the kale, too. I think that really brings out the flavor in the greens. And I've got some cooked lasagna noodles here. It takes about 1/3 of a cup of filling per lasagna noodle. And then we're just gonna spread it out.
Just that whack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Put
a
it right
cartoon
down.
sound
Yeah.
I'm seeing.
Right?
Yeah,
I
love
mean,
Now, if you're going to the effort of making this, maybe you want to just double the recipe.
Yep.
And freeze.
Yeah.
Like I said, these freeze individually really nicely.
Tell you, if you ask me, I would serve this at Thanksgiving.
It'd be a great, great
one of those-
vegetarian.
It's like a mix of
Yeah.
a mashup.
Oh, well, there's some families that do lasagna on
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thanksgiving.
I do a lot. Yep. Lasagna or ravioli.
I mean, I would take lasagna any day. All right, so
Oh,
little
my.
spirals.
Pretty.
Beautiful spiral.
Pop them in the 8x8 here. Now, one of our favorite things to do in the fall, we've done the last couple of years now that we have Iris, is to go to Hank's Pumpkin Town. Do you know Hank's Pumpkin Town? It's in Southampton. The traffic is crazy around this place
Really?
because it's on a 2-lane highway.
Worth it.
So it's like you got to plan to be sitting there for a while, but look how much she loves it.
Let me see.
Here she is on her little tractor.
Oh,
Having a great time. All right, I'm gonna top this with the bechamel.
that looks
Ooh,
luscious.
double besh.
Jeez.
So this is our sauce, and it smells so good.
You
Smell-
could have
can
just
smell
even
that little
marinade that and
bit
throw the
of-
cheese in,
of
but it's over the
nutmeg.
top, huh?
Yeah.
I'll
so
take
here
it.
we go.
Dare I say, you might even want to like bump the nutmeg up. because of
Yeah.
all the kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
Fall
everything
flavors
that's
here.
in this benefits from that little bit of nutmeg. All right, so smear it all over, and then I'm gonna top it with more cheese.
That's right.
Because lasagna needs to have cheese.
Did your mother approve this recipe? 'Cause
This would definitely not be a Kim Becker approved recipe.
Back
Oh,
over
is this,
Yeah.
this is no.
Well, it does have kale and butternut squash and mushrooms, but all the cream and the cheese.
Katie, that's the liberal amount of cheese there, honey bunny.
I
I
really
like you in the winter months.
I like
Wow,
that
what restraint.
And now for that,
I like a thick layer of cheese on top of my
I'm with you.
lasagna. I don't play when it comes to the cheese. Okay, this is gonna go in 350 degrees for about 45 minutes. This is heavy.
Covered
let
or
me tell you.
uncovered?
Uncovered. If it starts to brown too much, then
Covered,
you can
okay.
cover it up.
A little guy in there, yeah.
Gotcha.
All right.
Oh,
You see that?
saw a little corner.
Silence.
Oh.
Move the tray. Move the tray.
I don't know what to
Jeff.
do. I'm staring at the cheese.
Move it.
I'm sorry.
That's an oven pull.
Snap,
how
crackle.
much does that weigh? 14 pounds?
I mean, this is heavy.
Feel it. Watch the. Oh my God! There's a fissure in the cooking board.
Yeah. It is heavy. Now, usually you'd let this sit
Right.
for like 10
Forget
minutes
it.
before you cut into
stop
it.
it.
But we are not in the business of having patience,
No,
right?
I will take the
When it
lasagna
comes-
lanch right now.
a lasagna
go.
lanch?
Lasagna lanch.
You might want to
Lasagna
rename
lanch?
lasagna
Yeah.
lanch.
All right, and you want a corner, right?
Of
The
course,
corner's
you
like-
want the corner of the lasagna.
Also, maybe because you did the roll-up thing, maybe you don't have to.
Oh,
rest it
that's
as
right, you just-
much because it's not
That's
like
true. That's
layered
true.
like that. I don't know. I'm just trying to
That's
so we can eat
true.
it quicker.
Probably just have to pull out a roll.
justifying.
Yeah, it really is just getting a roll.
Oh my
Oh, I think
God.
you did. I think you found a roll.
Did?
You know what good with this, Jeff? We'll go good.
A beer.
A side of sausage.
Oh yeah, a little
Oh,
zesty.
yeah. This would be great with sausage
Yeah.
in it if
Oh
you
my
wanted to add
God.
meat.
You can even do like a turkey or like turkey crumble. You know,
Yes,
even like
yes.
ground turkey.
Oh my God.
But I mean, I
this
have a
looks-
feeling we're gonna
I
be
feel
wanting
really-
for nothing.
Oh wait, should I pass? I should.
No, it's yours.
No,
It's all
don't.
yours.
Okay.
Out. Eat
Nobody's
it.
gonna judge you here.
Look at that.
Wow, that's gooey.
And yeah.
Oh no.
Earthy mushrooms, the kale. The kale doesn't stand a chance in here.
It's really just there for decoration. Right?
is.
I think you're cute with your window dressing this time of year. I get it. But honestly,
4 o'clock.
this is about that squash, the cheese, the earthiness of the mushrooms. The bechamel is like a comforter in front of the fire. You know what I mean?
Look
You're already getting warm, then you add more warmth.
Look at my cheese top.
It's a delicious redundancy.
This is an oh my gourd alert.
Oh my
Forget about a
Lord.
fiber alert.
Fall chicken skillet. So I just cooked some pieces of pancetta so that I could get some of that beautiful grease going in this skillet. So I'm gonna turn the heat up just a little bit. And for this chicken skillet, I am using my absolute favorite cut of chicken thighs, and not just any chicken thighs. Chicken thighs with the bone in, the skin on, the works. Nothing better in the world. So I'm gonna make a seasoning mix with cumin, smoked paprika. I just wanted to make sure I had the right stuff. And salt and pepper and stir it together. And then I've got the skin side up, so I'm gonna start by seasoning the first side of the chicken thighs. Don't be alarmed if that gets a little bit smoky. You want it to be hot, because I'm gonna put it skin side down. Okay, I am gonna get this chicken in. You know what I love about chicken thighs is that they're actually cheaper than chicken breasts. And I have never understood that because they're so much more delicious. All right, so I'm taking the rest of this seasoning mix and sprinkling it over the second side. So I am gonna cook this chicken for probably 3 or 4 minutes on the first side, and then I'll turn it over and do another couple of minutes on the second side. So I'm gonna add to the skillet red onions and garlic. And then I have a mixture of sage, rosemary, and thyme that's finely minced. So I'm gonna just give it a stir and let that garlic really start to cook. I could just stand over this mixture forever. So I've got some other veggies to add. Brussels sprouts, raise your hand if you love them, cauliflower, and butternut squash, which, I mean, when I started cooking, you had to get like a chainsaw to bust into a butternut squash and prep it yourself. Now you can just buy prepped butternut squash in the produce section. So to this mixture, not that I'm complaining, of course, added some salt and pepper. All right, I'm gonna cook these veggies for about 3 minutes. Don't go away. I'll be so lonely. So the stove goes off and the chicken thighs go on. And here's what happens. So you put the chicken thighs on top of the veggies, and this is gonna go in the oven, and basically the fat from the chicken and the juices just kind of trickle over the gorgeous veggies, and so the flavor when this is all done is through the roof. And you definitely want to make sure you get all of that juice in there from the plate. So before this goes back in the oven, I'm gonna top the chicken with a little bit more of the chopped herbs. And we're gonna go to the oven. I have a little surprise for you. Ooh, I bet you can't guess what it is.
Whatever could it be?
First of all, get a look at this before it goes in the oven.
Wow.
The chicken's not fully cooked, so it finishes cooking on top of the veggies. So this goes into a 375-degree oven for about 25, 30 minutes, and this is what it looks like. It looks about the same.
Oh my gosh, no.
But
it
everything's
looks so
done. So I'm gonna show you how to serve this. I did a little swap just because thought it'd be fun. And I actually am gonna get in there and show you, like, just the beautiful veggies underneath, and just they're coated in that gorgeous chicken flavor. One more teeny little sprinkle of the herbs. You don't want to go overboard with them at this point because we have a lot in the dish. Balsamic glaze.
Yep.
You're kidding.
Yep.
I just think it adds kind of a little touch of elegance. And pomegranate seeds, which again, you can buy these in little deli containers in the produce section. Just kind of sweet and tart little nuggets. And then last but not least, I would never, ever let this pancetta go to waste.
Oh, yeah.
So here's what you do. You serve the individual portions onto plates, and then everybody can grab a roll and like dab in the pan.
Aunt TC isn't feeling well. You know, that's not like her. She's usually on the go. She's usually like, you know, doing everything for everyone. But who is there to take care of Aunt TC? I am. I am going to make sure she feels all better. And what better way to make you feel better than soup? So I'm gonna make Aunt TC one of her favorites, chicken and dumplings. Now, normally you think about like chicken noodle soup or one of those things. Aunt TC's from the South. She needs something with a little substance, you know? I've already chopped up some parsnips. I have some broccoli here that I've cleaned, and I'm gonna finish chopping this carrot. My mom always made chicken and dumplings for me when I was sick, when I was growing up, and I find that it's like still my go-to when I don't feel well. And not to mention, it's flavorful. You know, even when your senses are all messed up and you can't really taste your food, you're gonna taste this. So I have a sheet tray here that I've lined with parchment paper. I have some broccoli florets that I'm just gonna chop in half. Aunt TC is the person that's gonna show up to your doorstep when you're not feeling well. So I am very happy that I can do that for her. I remember when my grandmother was in a little slight accident, and my Aunt TC was the first person to go run to her rescue. She brought her food when she was healing. She brought a little liquor too. So all of my veggies are all diced up. I'm just gonna hit it with a little olive oil, a little salt, and freshly cracked black pepper. Give it a toss. All right, so I've seasoned my veggies. I'm gonna also season some chicken thighs I have here. Again, I just want a lot of flavor, and so instead of using chicken breast, I'm using chicken thighs. But if you have breasts available at home, you can use that too. Olive oil, salt and pepper. Massage it in there. And before I put these veggies in the oven, I'm gonna wash my hands. I'm gonna let that roast at 400 for 15 minutes. And while that's roasting, I am going to sear off my chicken. So I have some unsalted butter. I'm gonna also add a little canola oil. A little extra fat wouldn't hurt anybody. I'm gonna sear this on both sides, and that's gonna create some flavor at the bottom of this pan, you know? Building layers of what? Flavor. All right. So I'm gonna sear this on one side until it's golden brown, then flip it over and let it sear on the other side. It's been cooking for about 5 minutes now, so I'm gonna give it a flip. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Nice and golden brown. I'm gonna take it out of the pot once that other side is golden brown. Then I'm gonna cook more veggies. I have some celery, some onion, and garlic. I'm gonna sweat that out. I'm gonna add some biscuits. Now that's my mom's trick. Well, okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'll tell you when we get to that part, okay? They've browned on this side. I'm gonna take my boneless chicken thighs out. And look how beautiful this chicken is. Beautiful, juicy chicken thighs. So to this pot, I'm gonna add some celery that I've diced, white onion, some garlic, and a little bit more salt, some pepper. I'm gonna let that sweat release some of that moisture in the onions and the carrots, and then I'm gonna add in the rest of my ingredients. You don't have to wait to eat chicken and dumplings when you're sick. I like making it on Sundays and kind of just eating on it throughout the week, you know? It's a really big pot of just really great food, so you can eat it for lunch, you can eat it for dinner. So I'm gonna add this chicken bouillon paste that I really, really love instead of using broth or stock because it just has a really big punch of chicken flavor. It smells so good. It smells like my childhood. That's what it smells like. Nothing like some chicken and dumplings. All right, so I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of flour to help thicken this soup up. Give it a mix. And then I'll add 6 cups of water. I'm gonna return the chicken to the pot. I'm gonna let that cook for about 30 more minutes covered. And when that's done, I'm gonna take the chicken out, shred it up, add my roasted veggies, biscuits, and cream. I'm smelling all of those like natural sugars and the parsnip and the carrots, and they are beautiful. This is just right. So let's check on this chicken. Oh, I'm like sensory overload. The smells is coming from this pot, from the roasted chicken. My goodness. I think I'm sick too. I want to take my chicken thighs out and shred it. So what I like to do is just shred the chicken now. And if you don't want to fuss with shredding the chicken, you can always dice the chicken thighs before you add it to the pot and just don't worry about it. But I kind of like the shreds of chicken, you know, because I feel like you can get chicken with every bite. So I'm gonna add the chicken back to the broth. I'm gonna also add my roasted veggies. I know Auntie C is going to love this. All I need to add is the cream and the biscuits. I have a half a cup of heavy cream. So this is a hack my mom used to do. So instead of making dumplings from scratch, my mom would always use frozen or canned biscuits instead. Much easier, and these go right in the pot frozen. And I make this for my fiance, Brian, all the time. And I know when Brian has been in my pot because there will be an entire pot of broth and no biscuits. He eats all the biscuits out of the chicken and dumplings. All right, so I'm gonna cover this and let everything cook for about 15 more minutes. The dumplings are gonna soften up, the veggies are gonna soften up, and it's gonna be good to go. Man, that's good. You know, just when you're sick, you just want a meal. You don't want anything too fancy. You just want something that it just feels like a warm hug. This entire meal feels like a warm hug. Oh, Auntie C, even though I can't hug you because you're sick, hopefully this meal will do that for you.
Paige and Lad won't be much longer, so I'm gonna go ahead and start on the pasta with pancetta and corn. Ooh, this is gonna be good. I'm putting some fresh corn kernels into the skillet with some garlic cloves and Fresno chilies. I just sliced a Fresno chili really thin. And then I'll also add some oregano leaves and salt and pepper. I love pasta with fresh corn, and this has kind of that pancetta flavor. It's really quick to come together, and the sauce, let me tell you, is out of this world good. More on that in a bit. I need to cook the chilies and corn for just about 4 minutes, and this pasta will come together really soon after that, which is good because Paige and Lad will not be long.
Is that it?
Hey. One more, I got one more. Hey. Paige is pretty good. As long as you've got a good attitude, she's got a good attitude.
As long as he's got a good attitude, then it'll all be fine.
I always have a good attitude.
Oh my gosh, that is such a lie.
I'm always smiling and happy, Paige. What are you talking about? So, but I mean, this has been a pretty easy, good morning. The only thing's hard is getting those cattle out of that pen. Sometimes a little, but other than that, it wasn't bad.
Lad and Paige just texted and they are heading up for lunch, so I'm gonna finish up this pasta. I'm so excited to show this to you. It's so good. I'm gonna deglaze the pan with the corn and the peppers with just a little bit of white wine, just a little, not gonna go overboard. It just kind of sets the stage for this incredible sauce that the pasta has. All right, now this pan was so hot that wine really just almost reduced instantly. And the wine kind of loosened all those bits off the bottom of the pan. So now the pasta should be ready, and I just used orecchiette, the little ear-shaped pasta, and I'm gonna drain it right into the pan. And then I also like to get a little bit of the pasta water because that's gonna help me with the sauce. And that's why I love pans like this, because then you can keep the pasta water handy nearby, and it really helps with so many pasta sauces. So now I'm gonna add some Swiss chard, and it's just cut into pieces. You could also do spinach, or you could leave out the green altogether, but it really, really shrinks when you stir it around. So it looks like a lot now, but it'll really shrink as it starts to wilt. So I'd like to kind of get spoonfuls of the pasta and put it on top of the Swiss chard, and that kind of helps with the wilting process. It speeds it along a little bit. Now, I have something else to add to the pasta, and this is going to turn the sauce into something really rich and creamy and magical. So let me tell you what's in this bowl. The cream mixture has just 4 ingredients: 2 egg yolks, 3 tablespoons of heavy cream, a cup of grated Romano cheese, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Then I just whisked it together. All right, I'm gonna give the pasta one more stir, and I'm gonna turn the heat off before I add this mixture. Because it has eggs in it, I don't want it to be violently bubbling and boiling when I stir it together, just so the eggs will just thicken and not just scramble instantly. So you just wanna stir and keep stirring that mixture. It's gonna combine with that hot pasta water, and it just gets thicker and thicker and more creamy. And the timing is just perfect because that Swiss chard is still wilting, and you can start to see the sauce just coating those little ears of pasta. Oh, this is glorious. This egg mixture is so great for any pasta where you don't want it to be a real heavy, thick sauce, but you just want to add creaminess and richness. It goes with pretty much any other ingredient you want to add in. All right, and you want to just keep stirring until pretty much all the sauce is coating the pasta and you don't have a whole bunch in the pan. If you need to splash in a little more pasta water, you can, and then just taste it, make sure there's plenty of salt, and I think we are there. Now, before I added the corn to the pan, I had cooked some pancetta, just cut into bits. You can use regular bacon if you want to. Anything you want, it just adds such a great flavor to the pasta. And I sprinkled that over the top. And then just to finish, some torn basil, and I'll bet you a certain rancher and a certain daughter of his are gonna be here any second.
There you go.
Thank you.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
What's up, buttercups?
What's up?
How'd you do this morning, Paigey?
That's good.
You look pretty.
Thank you, so do you.
Hey.
How are you?
You look pretty. I mean,
Thank you.
handsome.
I worked hard at it.
How was your morning,
Really hard.
guys?
It was really good.
That's good.
Good. We got everything done. Paige only yelled at me once.
Did you have to get on to your dad again, Paige?
Yeah, he kept messing up the count.
He messed up the count?
Yeah.
Is that your account of this?
I think I was right and she was wrong.
How do you feel about your daughter being home, Dad?
It's nice. She's pretty good help.
Does she need more training, you think? Or did you teach her?
She can always use a little more training. Kind of like you.
Oh, no. I am fully trained, and if you're not happy, well, I don't know what. What do you say we eat?
Sounds great. I'm starving.
I'm glad you're home, Paige, because I have more people to cook for now.
I'm glad to be back. Glad to have your cooking again. I miss it.
Spiced beef hot dish with bacon jalapeno cornbread. To get started, I'm crisping up some bacon because I'm gonna use the bacon fat to brown my beef. And I'm doing this all in a brazier that's gonna get stuck in the oven. So this all is built in one pot. My bacon is looking really crispy. I'll transfer it to a paper towel. I'll season my beef now. I have 3 pounds of beef chuck that's been cut into cubes. Now I'm gonna brown this in batches. And that is the sizzle that I want to hear. If I add too much meat, it's gonna lower the temperature of the pan and I'm not gonna get that crust. So just be patient with this. This stew is inspired by my love of making chili and cornbread in this same pot. Okay, my meat is looking great right now. It's really beautifully browned. I'm gonna transfer this to a dish now, and then I'm gonna continue browning the rest of my meat. And at this point, it's not fully cooked, but it's gonna continue to cook once I get it in the stew. And then it'll melt right down and get so tender. My meat is finished, time for my veggies. I'll add my chopped onion, carrot, and jalapeno. And the carrot is gonna add really nice sweetness. So I'm gonna add a whole jalapeno here, and then I'll reserve the other jalapeno for my cornbread later. I'll add a pinch of salt, and then I'll stir this around and let these get soft. Okay, my veggies are glossy and soft. I've got chili powder and baharat, which is a Middle Eastern spice blend. Baharat translates to spices in Arabic, and it's heavy on the savory spices like cumin and coriander, and there's some smokiness with paprika. And then there's also this gorgeous warmth by way of nutmeg and allspice, things that I feel like are underutilized with meats. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of this, and then a teaspoon of chili powder for some heat. I'll also add 2 cloves of minced garlic, and I'll let my spices toast for a minute or two. It is smelling so good in here already. And if you don't have baharat, you can pull a few of the spices that are in it and play with the flavors, or you can use a different spice blend and take yourself on a different flavor journey. Garam masala would be really good with this, or you can just go straight chili powder. The world is your stew oyster. The spices smell great. I'm ready to add my tomatoes. I have a 14-ounce can of fire roasted tomatoes, just extra smokiness, and 14 ounces of beef stock. It's not actually that much liquid because this stew is gonna be really thick and hearty. And now the liquid is loosening all of those tasty bits at the bottom of the pan. So I'm gonna scrape those up and make sure they get incorporated. I'll add my beef back in. And these pieces, once this is done cooking, are gonna fall apart and be so tender. Now I'm gonna add one of my favorite parts about this stew, golden raisins. I know, this is unexpected, but golden raisins add these surprise pops of sweet glee that go with the baharat and make it sing. I'm gonna add half a cup of golden raisins. And they're gonna plump up in this liquid and get juicy and become almost like meaty candy, which is a good thing. And lastly, a couple of cans of chickpeas. And these add a creamy richness and also more protein. Nick is gonna love it. Let me stir this in. I love that this all comes together in the same pot. This is so beautiful. I also love all the colors in this and the textures. And I'll season with some more salt and pepper. And then I'm gonna simmer this for 1 to 1.5 hours and let the flavors marry and this meat get fall apart tender. I can't wait. The only thing left to do is prepare my cornbread topping. This cornbread is fluffy and moist, and it has extra richness from my bacon. I'm gonna start by combining my dry ingredients. I've got 1 cup of cornmeal, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. But baking soda has to ruin everything because I'm just gonna add half a teaspoon of baking soda. But it gets a pass because it's gonna make this cornbread extra fluffy. And I'll whisk to combine. My dry ingredients are combined. Next, I'll whisk up my wet ingredients. I've got my egg, honey, and Greek yogurt. And the yogurt is gonna add some tenderness and tanginess. I'll start by cracking in my egg. 1 tablespoon of honey will add the perfect bit of sweetness. And plain whole milk Greek yogurt. And lastly, I have a stick of butter that's melted and cooled slightly because I don't want it to cook the egg. And I'll whisk to combine. Looks great. I'll add this to the dry ingredients now. And my chopped jalapeno. This is gonna be really pretty and speckled in the cornbread, and it'll add that great heat. And my crispy bacon. I'll give this a rough chop and toss it right into the bowl. Oh, I should have made more so I could eat it right now. I'm getting really hungry. And I'll fold it all together, and that's it. This looks great. Now I'm gonna dollop it all over my stew. It smells heavenly. All right, I've got my scoop for the cornbread, and I'm gonna dollop my cornbread all over the top. and then bake it at 400 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes until it's golden brown. I can feel the comfort already. Oh yeah, baby. It's bubbly and that cornbread is so toasty. Before I serve it, I'll sprinkle it with some fresh parsley.
3-sauce baked spaghetti. So I'm gonna start with sauce number 1, which is meat sauce. And I've got some olive oil in a very hot pan, and I just added onion, garlic, rosemary, green bell pepper, and finely diced jalapeno just to give it a little spice. I put in thin spaghetti, so it should be ready to go just about the time the sauces are ready. For any meat sauce I make, I do a combination of sausage and ground beef. I love the combination of ground beef and sausage. Okay, so I'm gonna mush up both meats, cook them with the veggies. It's just gonna take a few more minutes. So I'm gonna make it saucy by adding some tomato paste, about 1/4 cup, and then a whole jar of good quality marinara sauce. Whip out your favorite meat sauce, whatever it is. You can totally use your own for this recipe. Alrighty, I'm gonna add a little salt and pepper to the meat sauce, give it one more stir, and then it just needs to simmer. So that's sauce number 1. For sauce number 2, I'm gonna make a really simple Alfredo. So I'll add a whole stick of butter to a skillet. A whole bunch of heavy cream goes in with the butter. And then salt and pepper. And then I'm gonna turn the heat up under the skillet and just give the butter and cream a chance to heat up and let the butter melt completely. Okay, the cream and butter are hot, the butter's melted. So now's the time for the Parmesan. Parmesan is the basis of Alfredo sauce, so you've got to add a lot in order for it to be noticed. All right, those 2 sauces are ready to go. Now I'm gonna bring up a baking dish and I'm gonna grab the spaghetti, and it should be just right. All right, so I'm gonna put the pasta straight into the baking dish, and lest you think I forgot about sauce number 3, I did not. Pesto is the 3rd sauce. This isn't something that really exists in the viral baked spaghetti recipe, but pesto is absolutely my love language. I add it to everything, and I thought it would be great to toss the spaghetti in pesto before I add the other 2 sauces. I'm gonna grab this absolutely sinful Alfredo sauce, and it gets poured all over the pasta. Finally, I'm gonna grab this big old pot of meat sauce, and yes, it gets poured right over the Alfredo sauce. I'm gonna leave a little bit of a rim of pasta. God, this is gonna be mostly meat sauce, I tell ya. I've got some mozzarella cheese, and it goes all over the meat sauce. So it's gonna go into a 425 degree oven for about 15 minutes, and then I'll let it rest for 5. So, all right, I'm gonna see if I can do this in one shot. Ready? Look at this, you guys. Oh, that creamy Alfredo. I have tried this before, but I really think I should prove to you how very delicious it is. It is scrumptious.
My friend Patricia's coming after a really long trip from Paris, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice to just greet her with like big steaming bowls of chili? But since she's being really good, I thought maybe instead of making beef chili, I'd make chicken chili. So I've got about 4 cups of onions and 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and they've cooked until you can really smell them, about 10 minutes. And then I'm gonna add lots of good stuff. 2 tablespoons of chopped garlic. This is gonna be really good. You wanna cook the garlic for just a minute so it doesn't get really bitter. And 2 yellow peppers and 2 red peppers. This is a really quick way to cut peppers, just straight down. And then what's left over you can use for snacking. And I'm just gonna do big chunks. I think chili should be big chunks of good stuff. So, peppers. Okay, now all the good spices. First thing, of course, is chili powder. So I've got a teaspoon of chili powder. Teaspoon of cumin, which is a really essential ingredient in all chilies. And then these are the things that make it hot. Red pepper, just sort of a pinch of it, maybe a quarter teaspoon, and then cayenne pepper, which is really hot. So use it at your own risk. I like when things have a lot of flavor and a little bit of heat, but if you like it really hot, just add more. So 2 teaspoons of salt. This is great. And I'm gonna cook that for about a minute while I get the tomatoes ready. I always make this with canned tomatoes. Life's too short to peel a tomato. So I'm just gonna chop them up really quickly. I'm gonna put in 2 28-ounce cans of tomatoes. Try not to get it all over the kitchen like I do. And into the sauce. Give it a stir. So most chili has cilantro in it, but I personally hate cilantro, so I'm gonna put basil in instead. It gives it great flavor. Just take the leaves off. And just give it a really rough chop. So maybe about 1/4 cup should be good. Wonderful. So it's gonna cook for about 30 minutes. So this is a chicken that I cooked on the bone with the skin on it, and it really keeps it moist. I just tested all different kinds of ways of doing this, and I found it's so much better roasting it than it is to boil it the way you normally do it for a chicken like this. Patricia's on a book tour for her new book, Provence, and I can't wait to see it. So just sort of tear off the bone with your hands. It's the best way to do it. So big chunks. I want it to be really delicious and chunky. Right into the pot. And just stir it around. This is gonna cook for about 20 minutes so all the flavors get into the chicken, the chili, cumin, basil, tomatoes. So we got all kinds of toppings. Cheese,
Oh, I want some
tomatoes.
cheese. I love cheese.
A little sour cream.
Yeah.
Gotta have a little sour cream.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Some chips.
Did you just create this like in the shower one morning or something?
Well, you know, I always made beef chili, and I just thought, wouldn't it be healthier if I made chicken chili?
In homage to my mom, I'm making a shepherd's pie. All right? Okay, so Sunny's already starting. Again, very simple, humble ingredients. Potatoes, some milk, some sour cream, butter, and eggs. She is ricing potatoes. The secret to this is they must be warm. Cooking them completely in salted water from cold.
That's right.
And you must cook them. There's nothing worse than an undercooked potato.
Oh, yeah.
my God.
Unless you're gonna fry them again, you gotta really do it this way. And this is a ricer. This is a fantastic machine. What this does is it lets the potato get to a state where you can mash it without getting gummy.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest problem. No, okay? So to that, she's gonna add warm milk, sour cream, warm butter. This is not clarified butter, just regular melted butter, a good amount of salt and pepper, and 2 egg yolks. And these are gonna be added at the end so they don't cook. And we're just gonna get them all in whipped together.
All right.
Okay, and these are just 2
got it,
egg yolks.
Chef.
You got it?
Got it.
Okay, so right here I have some onions and a casserole with rosemary. You can add garlic if you want. I just like the onions. And I'm gonna get them almost to the point where they're like kind of crusty. Okay, and then I'm gonna add ground lamb. We eat a lot of lamb in my household growing up. Back then it was really inexpensive.
It was.
So this is just ground lamb. You can use beef, you can use turkey, you can use whatever you want. Like I said, it's a casserole. What does that mean? It's a leftover.
That's right.
So go for it. And we have potatoes that will make anybody happy. I used to make this a lot of times in restaurants when I started to work in restaurants, and it was called hachis parmentier.
What?
Yeah. And this was staff meal. Okay, and this was staff meal means, you know, all the chefs are cooking very fancy French food. And what do they want to eat at lunchtime? Not fancy French. They want the opposite, right? Because you don't want what you're actually cooking all day. So this is very filling, and I just love it because it's just so satisfying. So we're gonna get that, a little salt and pepper, let it go, caramelize it, and this is what it looks like after about 4 or 5 minutes. It's all nice and brown here. Okay, and to that, we're gonna add a little bit of flour, just to thicken it a touch, some tomato paste, and a little bit of sherry wine vinegar.
Was this like something when you knew your mom was making shepherd's pie, you were excited to sit down at the table? Or was this like something, a shepherd's pie again?
No,
I can't wait to elevate it.
She would make a lot of these. She would make a lot of casseroles, and it's not necessarily shepherd's pie. It's like anything in a casserole, this methodology. So it could be potato with cabbage. She would make it with meatless. I didn't even know there was meatless.
A casserole is so comforting.
Oh, it's so comforting.
Isn't it? It does take you right back to your childhood. Anything mashed potato.
Okay, how you doing over there, son?
Really good. I aggressively salted it. Did you want pepper in this at all?
Yes.
Okay.
And to this, we're gonna add some pearl onions. Kind of fancy. You don't have to add pearl onions. I love onions.
You can get the frozen kind.
You can get the frozen kind. Some carrots and peas. You can add whatever you have again.
So you cooked those pearl onions before you put them in?
Yes.
Got a little color on them?
Yes, you don't have to, but I just did. Some parsley. A good amount of parsley. Really important.
You guys know the difference between shepherd's pie and cottage pie?
It's the meat.
What does shepherd's pie always have in it?
Lamb.
And what does cottage pie have in it?
Beef. Beef.
Yes, exactly.
So if you can take a look at this, you see we have, I mean, you know it's gonna be good, right? You have the little vinegar, the tomato, the flour's gone, basically. It's gonna do its job in about 2 seconds when I add some stock. You can add water, chicken stock, beef stock, vegetable stock, anything just like that. And then the magic. Sonny's gonna give us we're gonna put this right on top. I'm gonna bring this over here, Sonny, and we're gonna.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. You don't even have to get a casserole dish out.
Here.
You trust me?
I trust you.
Oh my God.
My
Hold
sous
on.
chef. You gotta
Let
trust
me
your
do
sous
one
chef.
more taste. You do.
Otherwise,
but...
you're gonna be in the kitchen all day long yourself.
Yeah, it's trusted perfectly.
Okay. Put the entirety of that on top. When I mean entirety, this will serve 10 people.
Great ratio.
Jeffrey, let me ask you,
Yes.
this is your childhood favorite. Is it becoming your children's childhood favorite?
Unfortunately, they don't get things so homey. They do get homey stuff, but I haven't actually made this for them yet. But now I'm going to.
Keep the tradition going.
This is just beautiful. Sonny's just, look at Sonny. Wow.
Well, I mean, it's meat and potatoes.
It is
GZ.
meat and potatoes.
I'm in my happy place, you
All
know
right,
what
you
I'm
ready
saying?
to get really happy?
Are you gonna do your thing?
I'm gonna do my thing.
Oh,
I think I see what's coming.
Melted butter.
Oh,
Oh,
that is just-
yeah.
I know.
I got you hills and valleys. Should I have leveled it off better?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Wow.
Hills and valleys and Parmesan cheese.
Okay.
Or any other cheese you have grated in the box. Doesn't really matter.
American?
Not American. Okay? Could you open the oven for me?
Yeah, I got you.
No, that'd be good, though.
375.
I'm starting to think about
Bottom
it.
oven,
On
please.
mashed potatoes?
375
How?
for at least 40 minutes.
Okay, you can get all nice and brown and
take that one
crusty
home.
over there.
Here we go. Oh, look at that. Can you
Oh,
see that?
stop it.
Oh,
wow. Wow. Right here. We sat in the right place.
Okay, you have hills and valleys in that too.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just painted kind of. Isn't that beautiful?
It is gorgeous.
Look at that guy right there.
Yes.
That's like McKinley. That's K2.
Oh my gosh, look at that. That is gorgeous.
So that's what it should look like. A little parsley
Gorgeous.
for you.
Oh,
Carrots always
for
reminds
moi?
me of childhood.
Oh, man, I'm making this.
This is very simple.
Yes.
And the great thing is that the potato is fortified with those eggs. So extra little, you know, something, something.
Woo, woo. Gigi, only you could make a humble shepherd's pie.
Oh,
Tastes like $1 million.
Oh, $1 million.
humble pie.
This is
Thank you.
delicious. And the lamb really does make all the difference
It's good. the lamb.
because it's so rich. And then you add those creamy mashed potatoes to it. You get a little sweetness from the peas and carrots.
The last thing Hyacinth needs is to worry about cooking dinner every Friday night. So I'm gonna whip up some yummy beef stew with cheddar cheese grits for Hyacinth, and that way she won't have to think about dinner at all. I've got 2 pots going because I'm actually gonna make one for Hyacinth's family and one for mine. I'm gonna brown the meat first. I got a chuck roast and cut it into big cubes. I actually haven't told Hyacinth that I'm making dinner for her. I'm just gonna run in and pick up Alex like I always do and then spring dinner on her at the last minute. Okay, the meat's nice and brown, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it out of the pot. It's by no means cooked. It looks like it is, but in the stew, it's gonna simmer for a couple of hours, and this chuck roast gets so tender. I'm gonna add an onion to each pot. The pot is nice and brown. It has a lot of bits from the meat in there. And then I'm gonna add about 3 cloves of chopped garlic to each pot. All right, now I'll just stir the onions and garlic around a bit. The pots are so hot, they're almost translucent already, so I really just need to cook them for about a minute. So I'm just gonna take a break and grab a couple beers. It's been a long day. Just kidding. I'm gonna add the beer to the stew. This gives the stew really great flavor. So I'm just gonna add 32 ounces of beef stock to each pot. Now to the pots, I'm just gonna add a few dashes of Worcestershire. Worcestershire always adds a nice savoriness, a little bit of richness. Then I'm just gonna add a little bit of tomato paste to each pot. Gives it a little bit of a tang, gives the sauce a little bit of richness. So good. And I like to add paprika to the stew also. It gives it a great flavor, but it also kind of helps with the color. And then I'll add a little bit of sugar to each pot. Now the last thing I need to do in this stage is add the meat into the pot. So I'll just slide half into this one and half into this one. Okay, now I'll just stir the meat in, make sure it's all combined. And then all I need to do now is be patient. I'm gonna put the lids on the pot, turn the heat down, let the beef stew simmer for about an hour and a half, and then I'll put the root vegetables in, let it simmer until it's done. And Hyacinth is gonna be so happy. All right, the beef stew's been simmering away for about an hour and a half, and now it's time to add in the vegetables. I gotta tell you, oh, this smells so delicious. I smell everything, the beer, the broth. Now, I've got 2 carrots for each pot. And then I also have 2 parsnips for each pot. And then I have 1 turnip, and that's enough for both pots. So about a half a turnip per pot. Now, I didn't want to add these at the beginning because the vegetables would be pretty much disintegrated. So this is the perfect time to add them. Let them simmer for about 30 minutes till the veggies are nice and tender. The last thing I'm gonna do is thicken up the cooking liquid a little bit. I'll drizzle in some beef stock into 3 tablespoons of flour, and I just wanna make a really, really smooth, pretty thin paste. Now I'll just add a little bit into each pot, and then it's gonna keep bubbling just for about 10 minutes or so, and it's gonna make the stew just perfect and rich and thick. I'm hungry.
Pot pies, I've made lots of them. Lobster pot pie, vegetable pot pie, but I think chicken pot pie is the classic. So for the sauce, what I've done is I've cooked 2 onions and 1½ sticks of butter, and just for about 10 minutes until they're translucent. And then I'm going to thicken it with 3/4 of a cup of flour. Just stir it in and cook it for a few minutes, just to get rid of that raw flour taste. This is really like making a white sauce. It actually is making a white sauce. And after this cooks for a minute or so, I'm going to add 5 cups of chicken stock. I actually have a little trick for chicken stock. Even if it's really flavorful, you want the entire dish to be flavorful. So I'm going to add 2 bouillon cubes. And then slowly pour this into the white sauce or the roux. And what that's going to do is really just thicken it. I need 2 teaspoons of salt and 1 teaspoon of pepper. Remember, this has to be really well seasoned because it's going to flavor all the chicken and vegetables. And then because I want it to have a little bit of richness, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of heavy cream just to give it a little extra flavor. And to this sauce, I'm going to start by adding lots of great vegetables. And the secret is, some of them can be frozen vegetables. 1½ cups of frozen onions. Just think how hard it would be to peel all these onions. 10 ounces of frozen peas. Not those tiny little peas, you want good big sized peas. And I've blanched some carrots, 2 cups. And some fresh parsley. And the last thing is chicken. So 5 cups of cubed chicken that have been roasted on the bone with the skin on to keep them really nice and succulent. Put it in, just mix it all up. Oh, this looks great. So that's the chicken pot pie filling done. And all I have to do is roll out the crusts. Okay, last part of chicken pot pie is putting the pastry on. I actually made pastry for something else and just froze this pastry so it'd be ready whenever I needed it. And I defrosted it in the refrigerator. You don't want to defrost it at room temperature because you need it to stay really cold. So I'm just going to leave the dough there for a minute. So I'm doing individual pot pies, so I'm going to put them in oven-proof ramekins. This filling looks gorgeous. Big chunks of juicy chicken, carrots, whole onions. Now they need a crust top. So I'm just going to roll out the dough. Cut it in fourths. Now, if you don't even have time to do the dough, what you can do is get some frozen puff pastry and defrost it in the refrigerator and use that instead. It's light, it's wonderful, and it's really easy. So I'm just going to roll each one of these out into a roll, maybe about an 8-inch round. Flour everything, including yourself. Let me move this over a little bit. When you're rolling out dough to make a round, you want to keep turning it. Roll it from the center out to the edge. This is nice dough. You just want to keep it moving, make sure it never sticks to the board. You can roll it on wood, but if you have stone, it's even better. Right on the counter. Okay, now the secret to the dough sticking to the dish is just do a little bit of an egg wash that you're going to use on the top anyway, around the edge. It makes it a little wet. So just put the dough on top. This is obviously a little too big. And you just want to trim the dough so that it's about 1/2 inch bigger than the bowl. Doesn't have to be perfect. Nice country, homey, rough edge is nice. Just like that. Okay, and then just stick it to the edge of the bowl. And it'll stick because of the egg wash that you put on it. Now just egg wash the top. So the dough puffs up and it's nicely browned. It's gonna be wonderful. So when these bake, the steam and the chicken pot pie filling will puff up the dough and it's gonna turn out gorgeous. And then I like to season the top with flaked sea salt so you see it, it's just wonderful. Flaked sea salt, want to have lots of flavor, cracked pepper. Okay, that one's done. Just 3 more. I don't even bother crimping it, just press it right down. And I'm going to bake them for an hour at 375, and they're going to be puffed and succulent chicken pot pies. I think we're all going to have a good time. Wow, those actually look like chicken pot pies. Sometimes I even surprise myself.